Cameron presses up tightly against Devon's side, breathing in the comforting scent of his cologne. Cam's false bravado has mostly faded at this point, especially as they're passing the motel.
I do like that they have like a nighttime version of it too.
Yeah. The coyote has to remind himself why it is that he insisted on doing this, when Dev had offered a perfectly reasonable, if slightly exhausting alternative.
So actually, that's something I would like to ask you both. Which would you have preferred, going into the haunted town or walking the 5 miles?
5 miles. Although I don't enjoy walking in the desert, certainly. But like 5 miles, okay, so like the local lake is 2 miles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Walk that 2.5 times.
Yeah.
That's 5 miles. Done. That's like maybe a half hour of walking.
Mm-hmm.
Or you take it real slow because it's hot. Now you're looking at an hour and a half of walking.
Right.
5 miles.
Yeah, I feel I would either
Go away from haunted, scary town that almost killed us, right?
I would probably go one of two ways. One, I'd be like, yeah, let's get them out of here. Or I'd be like, you know what, let's maybe try along the edge of the town, and if it doesn't work, screw this.
The only thing I would
I would be willing to do the edge of the town theory as well, but yeah, I am personally on the 5 miles mode as well.
The only thing that sucks is I don't think they have any of their, like, equipment. Like, they don't have, like, camping stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like they had to either leave in the Jeep or they left it in the hotel room initially when they first fled.
See, that's the one thing. I would have gotten the, I'm not sure if I would have. Luckily, I haven't been in terror situations. But like, after I catch my breath, I've been like, we should get our stuff out of there, because we need our stuff. But...
Yeah. In comparison, like I said, I've only been in 2 times where I'm like, I'm in a horror movie right now. And one of them was the FaceTime call that I talked about last time, funny enough. Wow, this is interesting. This series has made me talk about
horror stories with Alan.
Yeah, my 2 horror experiences. The other time, I was trying to find a way to get to a research park, and I was trying to find a way to cross the road without having to cross the highway. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, I could cross the bridge. And turns out that does not connect to Research Park at all. Like it basically would bump it to like a 5-mile walk essentially.
Uh-huh.
And so I just kept going, and I didn't know where exactly I was going, but I eventually ended up at the abandoned apartments.
Oh yeah.
And as I was walking there was 2 things that happened while I was walking there. I heard something rustling in the trees and like everything around me. I'm like, okay, so there's some type of animal nearby here that keeps following me. That's not great.
Huh?
And then I also heard this low droning sound from some type of electrical equipment that they were using around there that sounded like some type of like alien device or whatever. It was just like like consistently. So I'm like, okay, I have to deal with possible animal attack, possible aliens. But then even worse, I didn't know that I was heading towards the abandoned apartments, but I get there. I end up in this giant like parking lot essentially with all these condos and everything around that were all abandoned, all obviously like looking like that they were that there were doors open. If I wanted to, I could have gone exploring. But for me, I want to say 24 at the time. Mm-hmm. No, I wasn't 24. I was 22 at the time. And my thought was, I'm not dying in this shitty B-grade horror movie. I throw my backpack over a fence and hop the fence for the first time in my life. I'm not dying in this horror movie.
I am not gonna die in a B-grade horror film.
It's like, holy shit.
So I did that. I ripped my pants in the process, but I was like, fuck it, it's better than dying. I'm not waiting for whatever animal or whatever's hiding in those apartments to kill me.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, that would be terrifying.
Yep.
I have actually debated about trying to invite you and Velosh back there, just like we could explore that at one point.
I think you had mentioned that at one point, but I don't think you ever mentioned that story before.
Yeah, there's probably nothing actually there, but I was like, when you're by yourself, it's definitely a lot scarier.
Oh yeah.
Especially when it's dark.
No, it wasn't dark. It was in the middle of the day. It was like 2 or 3.
Oh, okay. See, if it was dark, that's what freaks me out. Like even like romantic date nights. Like, but like when you're in the middle of nowhere, like looking at the night sky, it's like fun for like an hour, and then I'm like,
well,
I want to go.
There's one time we were like,
this is great.
Like,
yay, we get to hear your horror story.
Well, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a horror story, but just kind of the thought.
Yeah.
So we went out stargazing.
We were in Maine. And the night sky in Maine is to die for. I mean, it is like you can see the Milky Way. It's more white than it is black. Like, it is that starlit. So we're in my convertible, and I'm like, oh, let's take the top down and stargaze. So you're telling a different story.
I thought of a different story, but yeah, no, this story was also.
So, and we're at our hotel, and the hotel has like a bright light in the parking lot for safety reasons. But the hotel is actually like attached to like a hiking area. So we drive over to the parking lot for the hiking area, and we're just stargazing, and it's wonderful. I mean, it is stunning.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you just hear.
It was like a high-pitched bark.
Yeah, but like.
And you can kind of hear some rustling.
Yeah, so you hear Russell. Russell.
No, it's more like.
Yeah. To me, I think it was a moose. Because they make moose make kind of a weird, barkish, yelpish thing. They kind of go, like that is.
Although that didn't really sound that deep. But...
Well, I don't know what so. It wasn't scary, but it was like, so first we get the sound like, oh, it's probably wildlife. And then we hear, Russell, and we're like, F this, top up, turn the car on. And literally, my brain no, I don't think I did we turned the car off because we wanted to like hear the night sky. So we're like, ah, great, we'll hear the bugs. So I'm full chair back, and I'm like, we're seeing it, we hear, and we're like, no, it's fine. And we hear, Russell, and my friend just said, turn on the car! And we just like, go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, didn't see anything, but it was like, yeah, no, we're not chancing this.
Well,
So what about your story?
Yeah.
So there was the one story where nothing happened from this, but this was more just kind of a thought that DJ eventually communicated
Oh yeah, I was
with
such
me.
a jerk about this. I know this story too.
So whenever we were dating, we were like, I was still going to school and bleep.
Okay, yeah, I can remove that.
Yeah, and so like we went out stargazing because like DJ's car at the time like actually had like T-tops, so like windows up the roof that you could actually like lean back and look at the stars, and so like we were pretty like I don't know, it was pretty chill, very calm for like I don't know, an hour or two,
something like that.
And
we
then
brought cinnamon donuts, which was great.
Yes. And then I think closer to the end of at the point when we were just about to leave, DJ brings up, I didn't say this before, but this kind of reminds me of like, one of those places where like, you just imagine
You just hear a guy
Because
Because like we were in a cornfield in the middle of nowhere as a couple in a car in the middle of the night.
I mean, the only way you could have made that worse is like parking on top of a hill with like one lone tree above you, and then you leave the car.
Yep, basically.
No, this was just on the side of the road next to a cornfield.
We just needed the car to break down, then it suddenly starts raining, and
Yeah. But yeah, no. And so he brings that up, and I was just like, why did you say that?
Yep. Or I just need to get a flat tire, and then suddenly there's a mansion over there, and we ask a guy
if we could use the phone.
if we can use the phone. Man, that whole show wouldn't have happened if they had cell phones.
No, it wouldn't.
Darn.
Yeah, no.
Well,
We
I
need to
guess
update-
I guess it could have been like there's
Out
no
of
cell
batteries.
service.
Out of batteries or no cell service.
Yeah, a lot of stories do not work that well when you have cell phones existing, which is
Yep.
why like so many stories have to go out of their way to explain why cells no longer work. Because the second you can communicate with people, you can solve a lot of problems real quick.
Yep. Hey Google. Okay, got it. Yep.
It's like this is where we're supposed to go.
Yep. Oh hey, there's the
Up
gas
here.
station over there. We can just call someone.
Yeah. Call a mechanic.
Speaking of which, for like the game Live and Learn, like I have had times where I'm like, do I really want to set this in the future? Am I sure I don't want to just set it in the past? People don't have cell phones because it's real difficult to like think about like how can I set up like a puzzle that's not just you look it up on the internet, you know?
Yeah. Oh right, because you broke our phones in the internet for that reason, if I recall. Yep.
That was one of the things I was like, I have to do that because otherwise it's just so it writes myself into a corner so easily where
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they can look this up right then and there because
Yeah.
otherwise why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Makes
That
sense.
was the scary thing actually about driving through the like mountains
Yeah,
of New Hampshire. They're gorgeous. I recommend it. Everyone drive through the mountains
but
of New Hampshire.
but cell
They feel like home
service
for me.
is very spotty.
Yep.
Very
And
spotty.
so like you'd be driving and like literally all your phones out. You had zero coverage, not even
Even Verizon.
phone call. I'm like, if my car breaks down, we're walking 3 miles to get to let people know. So
Yeah, no, there's even one point where I was trying to get a hold of like my doctor because I had to refill a prescription that we eventually were like, we're trying to like, it's like, we'll get it filled in Walmart out here, and like there was just one point where
we just
Couldn't
lost cell phone
call
coverage
them.
for 45 minutes. And we're like,
it's like,
well,
then.
and we're going up and we're in the mountains, and it started raining, and we were at the cloud level, so now I have no cell service. I can't see 3 feet in front of me, and I'm doing twisty turny roads, and I'm like, well, drive slow. So there we go. But no, yeah, 5 miles. I'd walk 5 miles. 100%. 100.5%.
Yeah, I'm very much with you on that. Like, that is my stance on the horror situation of
The overnight stay would be the only thing that would freak me out, actually. Because remember, they couldn't just walk 5 miles. They had to sleep the night.
But they would be sleeping in the Jeep outside of the town, which I would have
Great.
been okay with
Oh yeah.
myself. you know.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, that's.
I probably would have still been a little freaked out
Mhm.
by that, just because it's like you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but no. Jeep.
And he saw something that far out of town.
That is true.
True,
Now it's scary for the coyote either way.
Because the thing is, you're right. Like, I hadn't even considered the fact that they were seeing things from the lake. Because I was like, oh, you're out of the town, you're safe. But no, you're right. The lake's also a town.
And actually, I
Yeah.
do feel like there will be instances of. I don't know. This game feels like it almost wants there to be instances of healing, and
Okay,
things
so
of that nature.
that's actually one of the things I was looking at, and people were talking about for this game, is that Echo is a game where things start light and go dark, while they're saying that Arches looks like it's going to be an inversion of that, where things are going to start dark and then go light, and people are speculating that the fact that Cameron's a psychic might mean that he's going to try and bring healing to the spirits of the
Yeah. So I do feel like, in a certain aspect, I feel like this game is going in a direction of there's the evil spirit that has been haunting all these good spirits, or not good spirits, but just neutral spirits, so to speak. Because the otter didn't seem evil, and actually it set us up for this, right? Because the one person is like, he specifically said it was like set up with the blogs I read. Oh, there are some spirits will try to take control of you and are bad, but some
Yeah.
are neutral.
Because, bringing up like that first spirit that Cameron tried to interact with, the wolf, at first it seems like it was a neutral, normal one where, it's the wolf's darkest time, but obviously something hijacked it and went, no, we're going to talk with you directly now. You're not reading through what happened now. You're
Yeah.
talking to me.
Yeah,
And here's
well-
what I want you to see.
And he also seemed to want to make him scared of death, which the whole point of this journey for them was to make them less scared of death.
Mhm.
Right? So the whole point of this journey is they want to something happen with Lupita or someone where they want to kind of discover death, because that's his question, right? And I think something wants to make them scared. Something wants to make them very scared. So there we go. Let's see what happens.
Being exhausted is preferable to PTSD.
You think?
We just had a conversation about this.
But Cameron could sense the bear beginning to treat him in a way that he didn't like, talking to him like he was fragile, like the slightest touch could tip him over where he'd shatter on the asphalt. He wants to prove that he can deal with this.
Oh no.
Which is why he has to smirk at himself right now, because he definitely wouldn't have made this far if Dev weren't by his side. Right now, the bear has a steely grip on Cameron's paw, making it clear that he isn't letting go. Meanwhile, their free paws hold their phones, checking every now and then for a signal.
Again, same thing I was saying earlier. Communication. Let him know that you don't feel comfortable with how he's talking to you. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's part of the thing as well, is that Devin and Cameron are trying to have a healthy relationship, but I think they're both coming at it from some obvious points where they need to like really work through. I think both of them honestly could stand to handle some therapy.
Yeah.
Devin's obviously got some he's got some insecurity issues and things like that. Maybe not that bad or anything, but he could still probably benefit from talking with people and getting a better understanding of like how to improve socially if he thinks that he's that bad at social interaction.
Yeah.
And then Cameron, obviously, I think needs some therapy for various things, but like I'm not saying like, oh, he's broken or anything. Obviously not. Like,
no, it's just
You need therapy from a psychologist does not mean that you're broken. It means everyone kind of needs therapy. But no, I think what's happening here is Devin is trying to be the strong protecting man, and that's making.
Yeah, that's messing with Cameron, who
Correct.
Like it's starting to give him a little bit of insecurity about like the power dynamic of the relationship.
If Devin says plain and simple, what I saw you do in that room, I felt I hurt me, and I never want to see it happen again. The game's over, right? Like, they're good. And if Cameron says, honestly, you've been controlling me a little bit, and it makes me feel uncomfortable, it makes me feel like I'm not powerful, Devin, being Devin, would be like, oh, I'm going to change, you know, right? Like,
I'm going to back off.
Yeah, like, so yeah, no. Communication, but that's so typical, right? I'm not even saying they have an unhealthy relationship.
No, I think that they have. I think that they have a neutral relationship that could lean towards a healthy one if they talked a little more.
Well, because they're so nurturing for each other, right? They're over nurturing, but they're so nurturing.
Never mind. I'm gonna change my stance. I'm gonna say that they actually do have a healthy relationship that could get even better. Because
Correct.
I just remembered the anxiety attack that Cameron was having. Devin going like, "This is actually what we need to do. We're gonna stop everything and deal with that."
No, I think they have an extremely healthy relationship.
They both check each other over right after the accident, and
they care deeply. They work for each other. Their issue is honestly just that they work so much for each other. They need to talk, which is one, typical in any relationship, and two, very typical in a story, because in a story you want to build that dramatic tension, and that almost always happens through two parties that care a lot about each other not communicating.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And that's the other thing that this is why I'm really glad that we're playing both Echo and Arches kind of like back to back with each other. Is it's interesting to compare and contrast Cameron and Devin to, I guess, like Chase and Leo from Echo. We haven't gone that far, but from what I've read online, it does sound like that relationship ended for probably the right reasons, or not even the right reasons, but it probably should have ended anyway.
Yeah.
Even though it looks like, oh yeah, they should get back together. Obviously, they're the main couple or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they should be together. It sounds like they've got some serious issues that aren't really reconcilable.
Oh, that's great. I love to see that, and I wish I saw that more in media. A good relationship that has been broken up, where they are still friends. Right? Like, you don't see that as often in media, or you see it, but you're like, now they get back together because they still love each other.
Get back together, or it's used as a gag, or
I like it just being, hey, these two people used to still love each other, but used to love each other in a, not even like in a different way, which is always healthy.
Also, I just finally have been listening to the music enough. This is actually really nice, cute music.
Yeah, well, because they're having a cute moment.
True.
The music is so back to our music major conversation. Oh, that was technically the last video. The music is very intense. So like when it was intense, what I love is the music is it kicks out at very intentional points and it slides back in subtly. It doesn't want to get in your way because it's a video game, right? But like, for example, when they were when they're getting up to the crash, suddenly the music was going boom, 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 boom. You're like, oh, something's gonna happen, and then it stops, goes to blank. And then now they're this is their like relationship theme, if I may. Like they're trying to work through it.
I could agree with that. I'm gonna want to look up who's the actual composer for this game, because I mean I've enjoyed the music so far.
It is absolutely, yeah.
Shout out
and
to
it gives us that feeling of, hey, we are in the Southwest, right? It has that like grunge town theme to it.
And also knows how to play with
Arches. I think WFMT may have played this exact soundtrack.
Really?
Yes, because they do the Saturday morning.
I know they did the video games, but do you think they would do one for one that's not?
Because remember, this game came out
How
only
well
recently.
known it? Not this one, but Arches.
You mean Echo?
Echo. They talked about it just coming. Is this like notable?
Yes, I know that Echo is a very famous one for like the furry
100%. I have
Oh.
FMT has played this.
So FMT has played.
WFMT is a classical radio station in Chicago. Shout out to them, they're great. And they every Saturday morning
They play
they
video
play
game
video
music.
game and movie music with a video game and movie critic that look at them from both a music perspective and a video game perspective. And I'm pretty sure they played the music for this game.
Or at
I'll
least
have to
Echo.
look it up and see if that is the case, because like if that is, that's really interesting. Because like I know like with like furry stuff, it doesn't usually get a shout out, which is part of the reason why I was like, oh yeah, since we're doing all of like our games and everything,
Yeah.
I wanted to give like furry stuff like a shot every so often.
Yeah.
And at this point, I think I've given them a lot of shots.
It would be-
but like the ones I found, like I would say at least 70 or 80% of the stuff that I brought forward to like the group has actually been decent or not decent, good. And,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
even excellent
mean-
for some.
I can't guarantee it was, but it's ringing a couple bells now. And I remember they talked
There
about
was-
how it's a Southwest theme, and they kind of
Yeah.
played Southwest-ish
I think-
music.
Yeah.
And it was the video game thing. And I remember going, I'm not sure if I
Was it-
remember this game, but I should tell Alan about it. So
Huh.
I'll look back in my
Unless
text
it-
chain. I may have actually even texted you the
Well,
name of the game.
actually, I do remember. So I do remember the one Saturday they were playing the Red Dead Redemption, I think, soundtrack. So I don't know if
It may
that,
have been that, because that's also a Southwest theme, right?
Yeah.
But there was, I could have sworn, I'll look it up. At any rate, actually, I'm not sure I can, but I guess I'll call Lisa Flynn and ask her.
You call in.
I think there's.
Yeah.
I think there's so far back that you can go when you look in their.
You can't go.
program,
This
but-
was months ago, and I don't remember
Months
the
ago?
exact. Yeah, it was just a random Saturday that was
okay.
hanging out.
Well, I think the one for Red Dead Redemption was recent, so it might have. So it might have been.
I'll
It might have
check.
been
I mean, the other option is you can always say that you just came from an alternate reality Mandela effect style where Echo was on.
There we go. Or we'll go on multiverse on this.
I mean, that is part of the Mandela effect theory, is that we're all in a multiverse.
Oh,
And
really?
that people will slide back and forth between different ones that are mostly the same with like only one or two things different. Like
And that's
that.
why you remember it randomly
Interesting.
differently. Because I could swear it's the Berenstein Bears. I don't care what you say.
I mean, that's what everyone says. So, like, the theory about the multiverse effect is that somehow we collided with the Berenstein. We're all from the Berenstein universe and have collided with the Berenstain universe.
Yeah.
And so, like, the memories of the Berenstein universe remained while the Berenstain universe's
Yep.
actual objects remained
Yep.
instead.
I-
Which,
Interesting.
like, for me, I don't really believe in a lot of theories like that. I think that's a cute one, at least.
Yes,
the
it's
Mandela
adorable.
effect theory
Yeah.
and like these multi-universe ones. But I don't personally believe in it.
No.
I do actually believe more of the common consensus, like from outside of that theory, which is Berenstain's such an odd name that you would look at that and think that it's Berenstein if you're not really paying attention, like a
Yeah.
child, you know?
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
makes sense.
yeah, you have like a very specific, not schema exactly, but like a very
I
specific
think schema is
idea.
an appropriate word for it. Like
Yeah, I
it's
get-
it's your formed idea of what is correct, right?
Mhm.
So, anything yet?
On that note.
No, we wouldn't get a signal at the same time anyway. Wait, no, wouldn't we get a signal at the same time anyway?
We have the same cell phone provider. Well, I assumed I'll get it first.
Oh, because mine's not an Android.
See? Yup.
If only I had the brain of an engineer to figure out how to work one. Actually, maybe I should turn mine off and let you search for a signal. We should keep some battery life in one of our phones just in case.
It's actually a really good idea. I mean, yeah, see? Your battery will probably die before we found service anyway.
Cameron turns his phone off while Dev looks on.
I wouldn't worry too much about it, though. It's not like we're lost in the woods or something. And I let like 3 people know where we're going. We're gonna be fine no matter what, babe.
Famous last words, if I've ever heard them. Right up with here goes nothing, and I think I took too much.
Huh? Yeah, right. Our last words are gonna be like are gonna be holy shit. We live to 100.
I'm pretty sure I already screwed up my chances at that with all the drugs I did. Along with eating fudge cakes for lunch whenever I'm at work.
Yeah, but who cares? Fudge is wonderful. I mean, seriously, Cam?
Hey, it's in the vending machine right next to my cubicle.
Oh my gosh, why would you do that? Well, we're changing that as soon as we get. See,
I'm
What?
making sure you live to 100.
who would put fudge in a vending machine? I would spend $1 million.
Okay, so I can tell you, having gone to like a whole bunch of vending machines like that back when I was in high school, before I started really hating like nutrition better, there is plenty of stuff like that. Like it's like usually little Debbie Crocker or not Betty Crocker and like little Debbie cakes and things like that.
yeah, those.
And
But
so-
fudge is a whole nother level, man.
But no, that's what he's talking about. Is like those little like fudge cakes where it's like I can even imagine what it looks like. It's like two little fudge
Oh,
squares
yeah, I know
with
what you're talking
like
about.
obvious chocolate icing on top and like little
Yeah.
M&Ms and everything on top of it,
Those are so good.
and it's like $1.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about now, and
Mhm.
I'm not craving one because they're gross, but also I'm kind of craving one because
Well,
they're
I mean
so
that's
good.
the thing is I also get cravings for like, and I call it the bad food craving.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, you really don't actually like it that much, but my gosh, you know that you like the sugar overload of it
Uh-huh.
at least.
Yep. My mom's out with Twinkies.
Mhm.
She's like, I love Twinkies, and I'm like, okay.
Because like for me, like especially since I've been shifting my diet towards like a lot of non-processed food.
Yeah, sure.
Whenever I do eat processed foods, I get really not well after the fact. To the
That
point
makes
where-
sense.
Yeah,
No.
when I start visiting my grandparents and everything, they eat a lot of processed food compared to like how I normally eat.
Mhm.
So like I can stay with them for like 3 or 4 days and I'll recover fine. Recently I stayed with for 5 days, and by the time I left, I was like, okay, my stomach is dying.
Yep.
I need to go and I need to eat real food. Otherwise I'm going to not make it.
We eat out more often than we care to, and that's exactly what happens if you eat out like too many times back to back to back. Because like when I cook, I actually use almost no sugar and no salt. Not even from a health food perspective so much as it's kind of a fun challenge, right? Because like if you put Tony Chachere's on anything, it'll taste good.
Oh yeah. Well,
But
my,
like
yeah.
if you put like, oh, I'm gonna put a little bit of pepper or a little bit of like rosemary and basil and kind of mix this up, you're like, I did it, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is like that's what I love about like just cooking in general, avoiding like the salt and sugar, obviously, because like those are the easy spices.
Yep.
Like adding in other things that give them like this particular taste is always great.
Yep. And if you like so like I did a pasta where I have no salt and no sugar, which is like people never do that with pasta,
Mhm.
and it's success. So
Yeah.
don't have Little Debbie's.
Moral of the story.
So like one of my favorite dishes involves turmeric, cumin, coriander, and oh gosh, there's another one: coriander, cumin, turmeric. Gosh, what's the last spice that we add to that? Turmeric, coriander, cumin.
That'd probably be turmeric, coriander, cumin. Oh, I can actually even picture it. It's the one that you put it in tea sometimes too.
Cardamom?
Cardamom.
Cardamom,
No,
there we
no,
go.
not cardamom. That we add that to our tea, but we don't add that to this dish.
Oh, okay.
Either way, like this dish is a very savory dish and everything,
Uh-huh.
and so you can we used to do it with like meat and everything, and I call it the mint dish, where you add like a bit of like pasta noodles, usually like the shell pasta noodles,
Yeah.
with meat and all these spices as well as green onions and everything, and it's like this really savory dish because of like the spices.
Ooh, I love it.
And we also do that. We use the same spices as well for this other dish that we make, where it's basically eggplant added with that instead, and you do
Okay.
that with quinoa. And
Huh. Oh yeah.
you're supposed to do it with rice. However, like I said, we're trying to be more health conscious, so we
Yep.
replace that with quinoa, and it's
Yeah.
really good as well. I actually have that in my fridge. That's gonna be my dinner tonight.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
perfect. Eggplant. So it's eggplant, quinoa, and a crud ton of spices.
Yes.
Beautiful.
This is a Afghani dish and everything. We got like an Afghani cookbook.
Mhm.
I think it's called. Gosh, I do not remember the Afghan name, unfortunately. But it's basically this eggplant korma, I want to say. I might be wrong about that. I want to say it's an eggplant korma, though.
Mediterranean cooking is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So spicy, so good. Alright, I have said this, but I can say it again.
Okay.
Well, we're changing all that. You know, we're going to make you have healthy Mediterranean cooking when we get back.
You're going to get a new diet plan. We're going to hit the gym.
So you can get buff like me with my shirt off. Remember that scene?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of strange that you decided to go ahead and just take off the shirt.
I mean, I wanted to do some tasteful fan service, you know?
Okay, well. How are you gonna do that aside from stalking me at work?
I'll make you your lunch. They're gonna have us start working from home on Monday. Oh, wow.
You know
Speaking of PTSD.
Don't worry, Cameron. You're not gonna have to worry about those sponge cakes ever again.
You're either gonna gain a lot of weight or lose a lot of weight, because that's what everybody did in 2020, Cameron.
Yep.
They're having us start working from home on Monday, remember? I'll have plenty of time.
I was on the lose a lot of weight train.
I stayed neutral, but I also worked, so.
I worked as well, but like the thing is, I started intermittent fasting right as soon as like the pandemic began and lockdown began, because that was my mom suggested that. So I started intermittent fasting, and then I dropped like 20 pounds since then,
Nice.
and I've kept that off thanks to just maintaining it.
Yep.
So yeah.
I'm doing a very 2020 thing, although it's 2021. I want to get on a bike. I'm gonna bike places to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Let's see. Devin, health conscious, also strong.
Hell, I'd be surprised if they don't start making you work from home soon. We'll be like coworkers.
I just love / hate that they keep like commenting about like, yeah, this is totally before the pandemic, and like the characters don't realize how bad things are
After
about
all the
to
shit
get.
that's just about to go down
Yeah.
for these two, they're gonna get even more shit.
Yeah.
Poor
All right,
dears.
okay. Oh man, we really need to talk to someone about all the things we. Wait, what do you mean we're locked down?
What do you mean we can't get toilet paper?
They're gonna go crazy.
Okay, so I see this ending one of two ways. Either these two split. One of three ways. Either they split, one of them dies, or they become super close, and they'll have probably one of the better 2020s compared to most people, right? Like one of those three things.
I have to agree with you. That seems to be like the only way this story is going to be able to end, because the story is very obviously equal parts about whatever's going on. Echo needs to be checked on and investigated,
But it's more about
also,
them.
yeah, it's very like a lot of the story is very much about their relationship.
Yeah.
And that was part of the thing that got me invested in Arches, at least, was like, I really want to see how this relationship plays out.
Yeah.
And I mean, Ghost Town's a nice little bonus, but that relationship was what really honestly got me
Yeah.
to check it out.
Yep.
And I think you're right. It's going to end in one of those three ways. Either Devin or Cameron's going to die doing some type of sacrifice to like save the town or
Yeah.
save the other person.
Christ figure, it's a typical thing. Yeah.
They are going to break up because they realize that they are too different from each other, because the town kind of changes them and this experience changes them. Or they're going to be able to communicate better and they'll stay together.
Correct.
And
yeah.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be the stay together option. This is just a guess because of what I know about Echo so far.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that Leo and Chase are really not going to work out that well.
Well,
I think that Cameron and Devin do have a better shot
Well,
at that.
it's what they've been building the dramatic tension on, right? So it feels like the drama it's not really coming from the ghosts, it's coming from their feelings about the ghosts.
Yeah.
So the tension, so that's the dramatic tension is their give and take. So that means that and that's the rising action. We're here because they argued. We're not here because of the ghosts. We're here because of their argument first before the car, then in the car, then after, to get here. Like the dramatic tension is coming from their
Building
arguments.
off their
Yeah.
So their climax would have to be them, growing. Like
Yeah.
there has to be growth for a protagonist.
Yeah, you're right. Because like that's actually good writing in my opinion. There to like have it be that it's always either Cameron or Devin pushing the story forward.
Yes.
It's not the ghost.
Yes.
Like they reached out to the ghost and the ghost reacted to them. They decided to go here. Devin made the choice to actually turn that way.
Yep.
He was, and the thing is, I love that they never said like, oh, he felt a supernatural pull that moved his tire to the left. It was that he still chose to go
Yep.
left.
Yep.
We'll be coworkers, little do we know.
Fat chance. They don't give a shit about our health. Oh.
Aw, Cameron, poor dear. Oh, he's an essential worker, I bet.
He's a call center worker, so no.
Oh, so no, he
he'll
will be
able to
sent home.
communicate.
He will
Yeah.
100% be sent home.
Yeah, he will be.
Fat chance. They don't give a shit about our health there.
Well, we'll see. Either way, you'll be living to 110. so you'll have plenty of time to think up your famous last words.
Cameron has to wonder if their meandering conversation is purposeful on Dev's part, if only to distract him from what's across the road. Either way, the coyote is thankful for it.
Only if you... Well, Only if you make it there with me.